The following episode of Trainsatlantic has been released for free for your listening pleasure. To get future editions of the show sent your way every month, subscribe via trainsatlantic.uk.
I know what you want. I know what you came here for. That thing you crave more than anything else. It's a primal urge that drives us to absurd distances and to engage in ruthless and inhuman acts. It's a high unlike any other, known only to those few who have indulged in its infinite pleasures. An addiction stronger than any known narcotic, yet whose health effects are limited to occasional bouts of mild smoke inhalation. Do you know that, of which I speak? It's trains. Still clearing some COVID, unfortunately.
Did it get you?
It started. I got it in Sacramento, I think. Not even Sacramento. Yeah, it was like the morning of. I started to notice it, and then on the way back on the California Zephyr, it got really bad.
What is it with both of us being cursed with catching COVID on or around train journeys?
I was on the train. No, I was patient zero on that train.
Which was me on a bloody train going up, on a cross-country train going to Newcastle, where I was like, I got on York, I was like, it feels unseasonably cold in this train, and by the end of it, I was going, shivering and like liquid coming out of every part of my face, and everyone just looking at me like lifting their shirt collars up over their mouths and stuff like that. And as on my way home from that journey, doing it again because there's no other way to do it, I realized, I see what's happened here.
Imagine you're stuck on the train for 2.5 days. So
you flew out, right? You flew out to start with.
The intent here, I'm sure we'll talk about this in the future, but we're doing a private railroad car charter from L.A. to Seattle and back sometime in September. And, so this was me going out to... I managed to do an end run around the Depression by calling this a business trip. I had to just go check out what the situation was out there. Because I had never met Noah in person. I don't know. Maybe there would be some kind of like horrible vibe I hadn't, picked up on. No, he's fine. Luckily.
Noah famously has all the awful vibes. No, it turns out he is as lovely as he appears every time we chat. Yeah.
But flew out to Los Angeles, had a nice time in Los Angeles with Noah and Abby of Philosophy Tube. Took the Coast Starlight up to San Francisco, hung out with Jay and Miles and Ren. Ren, I don't think, has been on any podcasts yet. That'll happen eventually, I'm sure.
There's time.
Yeah. And
if not this one,
Took the who'd the California Zephyr back to Chicago. And then took the Lakeshore Limited from Chicago to New York City. And then, only then, the Northeast Corridor melted down. And it took me ages to get back to Philly. The last 90 miles, that was the problem. These corridor trains, they're just not reliable. You should take a nice long-distance train.
That's it. That 3-day-long bloody train. How was the...
Showed up right on time.
Lovely. Yeah. How was... Like, in reverse order, how is the Zephyr? Like, what is that like? Like, obviously, it's an epic journey. You were sharing, like, for anyone who hasn't listened, hello, dear listeners. And for those listening, Ross was sharing loads of lovely pictures of the journey, but it was spectacular, genuinely spectacular.
Oh, yeah. The Zephyr, you go through, like, you go see all of America. I wanted to finally see this big, beautiful country I live in. You go up through the Sierra Nevada mountains. You go over, of course, Donner Pass, which is, of course, where the Donner kebab was invented.
Famously, yep.
Yeah. There was some cannibalism involved. There you you go, you see the desert, which I didn't because I got COVID right before I got on the train. I wound up in my roomette, just laid out through most of that part. Yeah.
Well, you just have to do it again, Ross.
Yeah, I know. I wanted to see the new train station in Reno.
You missed Reno?
I missed Reno, Nevada. Yeah, unfortunate. I did make it over to the dining car, had some wonderful food, had some not so wonderful food as well. But the big loaded baked potato was very, very good.
How do they serve it? Because I've seen some pictures of like the food where like sometimes you get it out and it's all glam and gorgeous, and sometimes it's kind of like airline food. Like, what was the range?
So on the West Coast trains, you get the freshly prepared meals.
Nice. Okay.
Because the Superliners, they have the huge galley on the first floor. It's a huge dining car on the second floor. That's like a 70-seat diner, which is, massive.
That's like a large ground-based, non-moving diner. Like that.
Yes.
It's like, and then they put wheels on it and put the galley underneath. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. I think I did. Like the second day, I ordered some pasta that I think was actually microwaved. That was a mistake. I'll know not to get that one next time.
Yeah.
Most of the food is really good. The breakfasts were all really good.
Which is important. Breakfast is important. We like breakfast food. This is a breakfast positive podcast.
Oh, absolutely. That's why we started late, because I had to finish breakfast.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Starters would need to go on.
Yeah, you go through the Rocky Mountains, you go along the Colorado River for a long, long time, and that's where all the whitewater rafters moon you.
Good. Okay. Yep. Nice.
It's like a strong tradition out there.
If you're a fan of light nudity, then take the Zephyr.
California Zephyr is for you. Yes.
Yep. Yeah. Nice. So you do battle with the arses of the whitewater rafters, and then from there
you go through the Moffat Tunnel. You come down the mountain to Denver. You lose about 5,000 feet in like 30 miles or something like that.
Ears. Nice.
Oh, my ears did not pop after the Moffat Tunnel. Literally for several days, which probably was an effect of the COVID.
Yeah, that'll do it.
It was briefly extremely painful.
Yeah. Ow. Yeah. That is not ideal. So Moffat Tunnel. Yeah. So you've basically dropped as quickly as any aircraft will drop you in normal flight. Okay. Good. Yeah.
Pretty much, but on a train. Yeah. Well, a little slower because it's 30 miles, but it's taken at 30 miles an hour.
Oh yeah, that's true. Actually, that's a fair point. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a fast train in too many segments.
I'm going to interrupt to what extent is it a train that is going slow because of geometry or track materials, or just because it goes slow? Like, could this thing, the alignment isn't too bad along the route, right? There aren't too many sections where you've got really tight curves, right?
Yeah, the alignment isn't bad except for some of the steep grades.
Yes.
Obviously, you do like a lot of switchbacks and hairpins and stuff like that. But you are stuck with American freight railroad tracks where they don't believe in things like super elevation or like speeds over 79 miles an hour. In practice, I don't think we went faster than 50 for a lot of it. Until we really hit like the Great Plains, which is, right after Denver, everything goes completely flat.
Yeah.
Just the world's, you start believing in flat Earth by the time you get
this is how they managed to believe it. Yeah, because when you've got an infinity horizon, it makes the idea of there being any other dimension, it becomes confusing. That always baffles, because this is where I think you could, it comes back to things I say about what the future of the US railroads has to be, which is, the options are in front of you are the whole thing collapses and doesn't work anymore, or you fully nationalize the class ones and start balancing the use of the railroad infrastructure. You start building loops and stuff. Or option 3 is you overlay a completely new network on top of it for passenger rail, which I don't think makes any sense when you've got assets that are just sat there not doing very much very often.
Yeah, you could fit a lot more trains onto a lot of this track.
Yeah, exactly.
There's parts of the Amtrak long distance network that are essentially only used by Amtrak long distance trains.
Yeah, and given this frequency, you don't need to double track the whole thing for it to work, right? I'm imagining much of this is single track railway, right?
Actually, not that much is single track though. Only the approaches to the Moffat Tunnel and stuff like that. Otherwise, there's a pretty serious clip of container trains going by the whole time. Good deal of manifest freight as well.
So you really could up the capacity on these lines, and then that jumps into my mind of if you just went through, did your big track survey and worked out what speeds you need, what super elevation you need to apply, but also just what track materials work and formation work needs to happen to get the speeds up, you could definitely chip 2 days off the journey, right? This could be you could run a you could get like a WeGo style TGV to just run from one end to the other. And I'm not saying it would go TGV speeds, but it could be running a lot of the time at like 200 kilometers an hour and become more of a viable journey. It doesn't have to be 3 days, right?
I mean, you're still looking at 3,000 kilometers there. Plus, you got to upgrade stations.
Yeah,
you got to upgrade. There's parts of the right of way that are very curvy, like again, descending into Denver or like going over the Sierra Nevadas. You also have like maybe not the lowest hanging fruit. But certainly a low-hanging fruit would be improving boarding procedures. I mean, there's a lot of stations where they platform the train 2 or 3 times.
Oh, crikey. Okay, yeah, that's seems like not a necessarily good idea. Like, they don't need to do that. Yeah, okay. It's funny, because the bit of railway that I think of that I imagine there being similarities to is it is like going from like Milan up to Paris, like the train from Milan to Paris, where you go up through the Alps, and essentially you have a train that is using the TGV. It's like using like the original TGV Sud-Est route by the time it gets to Lyon, but like it's weaving and winding through Grenoble and like across from Turin, and so that like. It feels like you could have a fast train that does still slow down and do, you could like stage the civil engineering and do like the really expensive speed improvement stuff over the top of the hill, through the tunnel. You don't have to do that immediately, but you could do a lot in the plains, right, for not that much money to get those speeds up.
You could go like a bat out of hell from like Denver to Omaha to Chicago.
Yeah, that feels like an opportunity, but also it's still a stunning. You have had a stunning journey.
Yeah, and there's also like they also got like schedule padding in such a way that like the train stops overnight. I want to say in Salt Lake City for 3 hours, just so you have the scenery timed the next day.
Yeah, which again, that like I'm not saying you get rid of the Zephyr. The Zephyr is a stunning journey. I'm thinking like if I was putting my consultancy hat on and going like, what could you get out of this infrastructure without like with like not much more than just track renewals, like probably still quite a bit is the answer to that. Like, if you tighten up all those schedules and just sort of said, we're going to kind of just run this as quickly as we can and see what happens, you could probably do quite a bit. So then you got to Chicago.
I've done the Lakeshore Limited twice now this year. Both times I got a roomette on the wrong side of the train, because on the one side you see the beautiful Hudson River Valley and you see all of the like the Erie Canal and all that sort of stuff. On the other side you get the cliff. I got the cliff both times.
God damn it. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Well, you got intimately acquainted with the geology, the slice of geology that makes a fairly straight transect from Chicago down to
formation. Like I haven't seen that before.
Oh damn! Yeah, that will do. Anyway, for everyone listening, there's so many. Ross posted loads on Blue Sky or Twitter. Like there's loads. The photos are stunning. Very much enjoyed following the trip. Right, maybe we should introduce the show, given that we're 37 minutes into a 30-minute show, right? So I suppose it's worth saying, this is it's going to be all over. This is part of the fun. Is I have no idea what this is going to be assembling into, dear listeners, and you are experiencing it. So I guess welcome to the first episode of Trainsatlantic with me, Gareth Dennis,
and me, Justin Roczniak.
Yeah, if you're listening to this, you are a subscriber to the RailNactor Patreon, and that makes you an unqualified good person. So we hope this is a nice little extra good for now. Anyway, I don't know what this might become, but for now, we hope this is a nice little extra goodie to those dear long-time subscribers. And for those who are new here and have just joined us, well, firstly, let us know, will this blow up and eat RailNactor alive? Only time and your high engagement levels will tell. But if you don't know who we are, Roz, I guess we should briefly introduce ourselves and say what in the hell we are / do. For the people who are new here. So, Roz, who are you? What is your identity?
I'm Justin Roczniak. My pronouns are he and him. I host the There's Your Problem podcast, a podcast about engineering disasters with slides. That's basically all my qualifications. I have a fake podcasting job.
That's not true. You are a practicing bona fide engineer.
Long time ago.
I'm 2 years since I last had a standards briefing update, so I'm feeling a little bit out of the loop on being an engineer as well at this point. But so my name is Gareth Dennis. My pronouns are also he, him, and I am a railway engineer. I'm a writer. I've written a book called How the Rails Will Fix the Future, and I also do lots of like behind the scenes shifty policy stuff. Like I like jab politicians of varying like levels of government in the ribs and try and convince them that not just doing more cars is a good idea. So that's kind of what I do. Roz and I met.
When did we meet? Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Well, yeah. Like, when did we actually start? Like, I think we were like Twitter mutuals, presumably to start with, and then
right.
I came on for that very early episode of W2IP.
Oh yeah.
Which we did, which was nice because we did it live when on my second trip to the US, we did that live as a bit. Like you snuck me over in like a box in the underbelly of a jumbo jet. That was nice, and then I appeared in DC. But yeah, like I guess that was it, right? That was just Twitter. Was it really just a Twitter? Like we were online dating to start with, and then it escalated from there.
I think that's how everyone has met everyone these days, is through Twitter.
Yeah. But what was really nice was actually coming over to the US. Like I came over for a trip just before my first was born, and that was really nice. That was a great trip. We had bigger plans, but then Steve Greyhound let us down.
Yes,
but
we'll get you on a private car one of these days.
I guess, like, what is this podcast? What is it intended to do? Well, my plan for it, I don't know. We don't really have a plan for it, but to the extent that we do, nothing is the answer. It's going to be a chance for Roz and I to just talk about fun, stupid, or fascinating things that we kind of trip over in our explorations of the railway world, or like a chance to tell stories we've picked up in the years that we've been making friends across the railways on both sides of the Atlantic. And we might even invite some of those friends on to join us. We might change the format without any warning.
Your podcasting experience may vary.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Side effects may include.
This podcast is run by two neurodiverse ferromechanologists. Any changes made to the podcast are not legally binding.
This podcast contains chemicals known to the state of California to cause cancer.
This podcast may inadvertently expose you to the novel coronavirus. Yeah, things of this nature. Yeah. We have to talk AM or FM. There's a picture that gets absolutely everywhere and seemed to get a viral boost again recently for absolutely baffling reasons. And Roz has the benefit of the picture in the notes, but I'll describe it for everyone, which is it's the flipping solar railway again for some reason. This line of like photovoltaic panels mounted between the rails in the forefoot, looking shiny and vulnerable. Roz, do you want to just explain what AM and FM is?
Oh, I mean, when we're talking about the world's most expensive tracking equipment detector here, this was stolen from the Turkey City Lexicon, which is a sort of document that was put together for science fiction writing workshops, right? And in this case, AM/FM is an engineer's term distinguishing the inevitable clunky real-world faultiness of actual machines from the power fantasy techno dreams of fucking magic.
yeah. And I've used, I love AM/FM. It's just such a neat way to cover lots of things. But what I like about firstly, what we're describing is it's photovoltaics in the forefoot, which we'll get into why this is stupid momentarily. But like, have you seen? Presumably you've seen this before. Like, it's been kicking around for a while now, right?
Yeah, I saw this a couple years ago, and I made the same joke about it being the world's most expensive dragging equipment detector. And then some people tried to tell me that in Switzerland they don't have dragging equipment. I don't believe them.
So this thing is a trial proposal. The reason this photo kicks around is because they did one short trial. I think it's about 100 meters of track. This is being developed by a company called Sunways. It's a Swiss startup with some deep pockets, presumably thanks to the ease at which like any project in the EU can just claim that it's innovative and suck up those sweet EU like innovation grant cash piles. I don't know you remember the Hyperloop episode we did, and like W2IP we did, and it was like there is so much money that just gets pissed away on junk like this.
Yes.
But I suppose what's interesting about it, like the project kicked off in 2023, it's kind of not gone anywhere since, other than this like 100 meters of track they put out in 2025. And so it was last year that this picture got taken. And then obviously you have all the people, including people who should know better, going, isn't this brilliant and genius, and why don't we do this? People who've not really thought about it. But I suppose why I like it is because it's like, is this AM or FM? Because, you know, they've built 100 meters of it. It ostensibly exists in a real world of sorts, except that it isn't, because it's just a 100-meter trial. So like, there's two important theories of tech bullshit that you and I have both championed. The first is AM/FM, which you put me on it many years ago. But the second is kind of like, mine in a way is the fact that like any tech solution like this wants you to focus on two things. And this, you cover this on Loop to an extent. Like this is key, which is any tech bullshit. They want you to talk about the brilliant technology and the wider societal need for change. And they kind of ignore the middle bit, which is where the two meet. So like how the magical technology will actually deliver the market requirements as or demand, or however you want to define it, which again kind of is like the AM/FM bit. It's like, well, it's like Hyperloop reports that are like, oh, there's this desperate need to connect up cities faster in the US. It's like, yes, correct. And then they go, look at our fancy technology. It definitely works. The tube technology works. It's like, okay, yeah, you've got this tube that carries 12 people in like a weird kind of hollowed out bullet. How is that useful to fix the city connection problem? And of course, in the case of like things like Hyperloop, it's system capacity. It's like the system has no capacity, so it's a fucking waste of time. But it kind of applies to this stuff, right? Because you've got, look at this wonderful, clever technology and look, it works. You can put the PVs in the ground. You've got we need to generate more electricity. And then the gap of, but does this actually usefully do that?
Can it be defeated by someone forgetting to, put the chain back on the hook on the buffer and chain couplers?
Yeah. Or the first team that come through to do a tamping shift, they lift it all out just using a road rail vehicle bucket and just leave it in the cess because they then realize they broke all the ways that it's fitted to the rails. Oops. So, I don't see this. And we'll get into the practicalities of this because the main, we'll get there in a minute. But let's visit the website. Let's talk about this website and have a little look. So, Roz, you might want to click on the link in the notes when the two of us can have a look at this and sort of see what they are offering here. So, like, I'll quote from the website here. Sunways was born from the desire to respond to two major global challenges. See, this is what I'm talking about. It's the big global picture. Urgent need to reduce CO2, and the underutilization of space in transport and industrial infrastructures, which is like, yes, station roofs, warehouse roofs, train shed roofs, even maybe all of the triangle, all of the kind of isolated land within railway Ys and stuff. Sure, underutilized space. The 4-foot is not that for a variety of reasons we might get into.
It's a bad place to be.
Yeah, exactly. And they've got the glossy video and they've got all the challenges. So let's go through. Roz, list what these 4 challenges. List off just the titles of these 4 challenges to see what the challenges are, right?
Favorable political framework, railway potential, lack of space, and ready to deploy.
Firstly, it's like, that's a bit like going into a job interview and saying that one of your flaws is that you're too honest. It's like, I don't see how ready to deploy is like a challenge. You're just saying, oh, look, aren't we great? We're ready to deploy.
I don't think it's ready to deploy if it can be defeated by a tree branch.
Yeah, or one tamper. Yeah, exactly. Like, so like the railway potential, they keep saying like there are 260,000 kilometers of railways in Europe and more than 1 million in the world. Yeah, and there's a reason that we don't put shit in the 4-foot. It's because all of our automation around track inspection, the way that we can keep a railway running with so many fewer guys, for the most part, unfortunately, out on track prodding it, looking at it, and so on, is because we've done lots of automated inspection, which involves looking at things like ballast levels within the cribs, which is the space between the sleepers, looking at like track fastenings. All of these things now automated with plain line pattern recognition, like high-speed cameras and stuff. What you don't then want to do is put a bunch of PVs in the way of that inspection.
I would not put anything I love or care about inside the gauge. Yeah, that's a bad place for things in general.
We already have a time of, well, in fact, lots of effort has been put into unwinding. Well, we did decide to start putting lots of signaling equipment in the 4-foot, which is okay, fine. We then started stringing lots of wires around on the track, and that we've then spent like a couple of decades having to go backwards on in the UK, in GB, lots of orange pipe full of cables that would just get obliterated by the first pass of a tamper. We now have lots of things like cable management sleepers and hollow bearers and stuff to fix all that mess. So like we've already, like that is a problem we've kind of resolved. We don't like putting stuff in the forefoot. So then the reason why I do that, so inspection to one side, the other reason, Roz, as you've alluded to, is we have to maintain the track, and we don't just do that by magic. Like a tamper comes along, shoves these kind of fingers into the track, lifts the track up and vibrates the hell out of the ballast to like make sure that it consolidates to support the track appropriately. And those tines go through anything like butter. It's an extremely heavy and strong, like hydraulic or electromechanical system that doesn't care about whatever is in the way of it, including photovoltaic panels. And then if the response to that is, well, then you have to take them off and put them back on between every tamping shift. Prepare to get laughed out of town, right? We know a lot of maintenance away guys.
That's just more work. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, no, that's not. They don't want to do that. So there's just all this stuff about like, look at the ways that we generate electricity, and it's just like, again, it's here are the global needs to generate electricity, and here is our stupid technology, and why this is the solution, and like, isn't our stupid technology wonderful? It's like, no. Again, also so many pictures of that 100-meter trial making it look like it's a real thing. Like, no, it's 100 meters, lads.
Yeah.
On what appears to be a small rural branch line.
Immediately obliterated by a crowbar hanging out of a scrap metal gondola.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like this is just not... PVs are, I would describe, a fragile technology. I might be wrong on that. Someone can shout at me. But I would not put them in the forefoot. And that's before we talk about, even on electric railway, like dust and muck and rain and everything that just will get these things filthy immediately. Well, you're just adding a massive maintenance liability. Like, what are we doing here, folks? This seems stupid to me. So, and of course you look at the team, and it's 3 extremely startup looking guys. All of them have neck chains. I don't know. What are we doing here? So I was having a look at numbers, Roz, right? It's difficult to find an exact number for the number of single track kilometers of railway length in Switzerland, but a few times I saw like 5,200 kilometers pop up. So like if you imagine multiplying the area between the rails by 5,200, even if you put these absolutely everywhere, that is at most like 746 hectares. Which, I don't know what that is in freedom units, but it's the equivalent...
Probably a little less than that, because so much of it is narrow gauge.
Well, yeah, very good point. Yeah, so less than that. So even if you assume standard gauge for the whole lot, right, that's the equivalent of one large UK solar farm. And that's a UK solar farm, not necessarily the big ones that you get in other parts of the world, but a large UK solar farm. So like there's one that's about to open called Springwell Solar Farm in the UK, which will be 1,280 hectares. So like quite substantially larger than that. So one large solar farm is more than all of the hassle and stress of doing all that work on the track. So the cost is like a railway that requires these PVs to be removed every single time the track needs to be inspected or maintained. I think there are lots of people saying, well, at least it's not as dumb as the solar road idea. Roz, I think this is dumber than the solar road idea. And that was pretty dumb.
I would say, that it is dumber, because at least that was like, well, we're going to have really toughened glass so that, when there's inevitably like some kind of horrific accident, the solar panels aren't as damaged. And meanwhile, this one is going to get taken out by like... again, it's just dragging equipment happens pretty much constantly. So, you're going to be replacing these things a lot. To say nothing of the maintenance aspect. It's like, well, it's Thursday, time to install another 100 kilometers of solar panels.
It's daft. I was digging around for fun things to build segments out of, and pretty rapidly discovered what appeared to be the 2 main genres of local trains news in the US. One of these is stories about death and destruction at level crossings, and the other is stories about haunted railroad buildings. You'll all be glad to hear that I thought we'd dwell on the latter category. And so to start us off, we are heading to the Mississippi city of Pascagoula, I believe.
Pascagoula.
Courtesy of WXXV25. I love US news websites. Wuxva. Yeah, this is it. So, Roz, we have to talk about is the old Pascagoula train station haunted? It's registered as a Mississippi landmark on the National List of Historic Places. Over the years, the building has served different purposes, and those who once worked there claim the old station is haunted. So there we go. So that's that. It claimed to be haunted. Built in 1904, the old railroad depot stands at more than 100 years old. Over the time, this building has been home to several different services, and former employees think the building could be occupied by something else.
The phone flew and hit the filing cabinets, and the person sitting next to me, her eyes got as big as golf balls.
Yeah, crikey. So, yeah, that's like, there's another quote from Rebecca Davis, who worked in the old station in 2007, which I'll also drop in here.
She knew that she had turned everything off, and when she comes back in, the radio is just blaring, but it is opera music.
Like this, yeah, there's definitely some stuff going on. So after Hurricane Katrina in 2005, the services were discontinued. Actually, that's worth saying. Like the service used to be the Gulf Coast Limited,
right? It was
right?
Sunset Limited by the time of Hurricane Katrina, but yeah.
Yes, and then Katrina kind of wiped it out, and it took, 20 years? Like, I think last year it started operating again. Is that right?
Sort of. So the Mardi Gras service only goes as far as Mobile, whereas the Sunset Limited went all the way to Jacksonville.
Okay. But I think they did reopen Pascagoula Station for that service.
That would make sense.
Believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It appears to be here on Google Maps with a platform long enough for one door on one car.
Oh, really? Okay. Classy. On Christmas Day 1931, a man who worked there was found dead. Historians tell News 25 the express worker's death was ruled a suicide. Carl McGeehee was with the Pascagoula Historical Committee, said
his son went up to the depot and found him dead. It was strange because they didn't know what had happened.
What happened? Well, indeed. So there are a series of stories. I'm going to end with this delightful quote, because I don't know. Do we actually think this building is haunted?
I would say the vast majority of railroad buildings are haunted in some way.
Exactly. It's
I would say that's like a normal state of affairs.
Yeah. The unusual thing is if it would every single one of these buildings, bad things have happened.
Yeah. If it's like not haunted, that's one of the reasons why, like, Moynihan Train Hall is uncanny. It's not old enough to be haunted yet.
Yeah, it doesn't quite have that creepy feeling, and therefore everyone feels like they're inside an AI-generated picture. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I need a few ghosts in there to remind me of what's real.
So there's a last to just close out. We'll read this last quote from Rebecca Davis, who worked in the station back in 2007 when it was housing some city offices. The last nice little quote from her.
Do you believe? I don't know what it is, but I know what happened.
Utterly impenetrable. I have no idea what she's saying.
Yes.
Beautiful. Alphabet Travel's brought to you by the letter, in this case, A, because it's episode 1. It's a segment, it's an adaptation of a request from the Patreon folk, actually, which is that they want us to tell a story of a train journey we've taken to a destination in alphabetical order. And I thought, okay, so set some rules for this segment. The rules are pretty simple. The trip has to be domestic. So for Roz, that's got to be the USA, and for me, that's the UK. Are there actually rail destinations from A to Z in both the US and UK? Well, I suppose if we keep the format going, we will find out in a bit over 2 years. So that's the rules are that simple. And so, Roz, you wanted to give us a little trip. Tell us about a trip to, or maybe what it's like to take the train to Alexandria.
Alexandria Union Station is one of my favorite stations. It's just a little sort of federal-style building in Alexandria, Virginia. It has a very well-preserved waiting room. It has the old wooden benches. It has a fireplace, but they don't use that anymore. You can still buy physical tickets from a guy in a ticket booth. The whole thing. I used to take the commuter train there every single day, the Virginia Railway Express, to go to high school. And then, you get off the train station, go walk underneath the tracks over to the metro, and that's where the school bus would come, and Tony, the bus driver, would bring you over to Bishop Ireton High School, just about a mile down Duke Street. Tony was very, very cantankerous. But if you were part of the morning bus crew, he liked you. He hated all the other students.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. That's legit. Yeah. What's the service like? Is it still like? What's the service like to Alexandria now? Is it still?
Alexandria is a very, very, very busy train station for the size it is. It has 2 platforms and 3 tracks now. But it's a huge portion of that is Amtrak service. The Virginia Railway Express still only runs, peak hour, peak direction services. Very bad for having a social life when you're a teenager.
Yeah, at some point, if this keeps going, I want to kind of do a commuter rail kind of episodes, because is commuter rail good or bad? Like, obviously having it is good, but not having the service the rest of the day feels bad for anyone who doesn't just work a conventional job.
And those trains didn't even run on weekends.
Well, yeah. Okay. I mean, who lives outside of? It does make it it's a bit on the nose of, this train is for you, peasant. You will arrive at your workstation. You will do spreadsheets and you will leave.
Yes.
It's kind of a bit on the nose.
The fun part about that station, of course, is you're riding on a train with gallery cars, some of the only gallery cars on the East Coast.
Yes.
And those are the double-decker cars. They're huge. They have the big hole in the middle on the second floor, so that the conductor can walk by and check tickets in one pass.
I always imagine that the conductor has like one of those like geriatric stuff grabbers, like the thing that you can like grab stuff off high shelves with. And I imagine that that's how the tickets get checked. It's like but it's like the ticket stamp. It's just on the end of a thing longer. That's always how I've imagined those.
That would be funny. What you did in practice was you reached down over the side with your ticket to show it to the guy until Cialis took over, and then they decided the only practical way to check tickets was to have the conductor go up every individual galley and check tickets that way, which kind of defeats the purpose of the gallery car. But
you could just have 2 people going up across each floor, like through each floor at that point. Like, that feels inefficient. It feels a lot less efficient than having one guy doing both.
Yeah. You've gone from one guy doing half the work to one guy doing 4 times the work.
Exactly. It makes no sense. No, my A to Z, starting with A, is Aberystwyth, actually, which, like, my parents with us moved to Aberystwyth, or moved to near Aberystwyth in 2006. And so I started, and I went to uni in Edinburgh, so I started traveling. Even before then, I used the train to get up to see friends in Inverurie, where I grew up. I've used that train a lot. So throughout my entire uni years, I was going back and forth to Aberystwyth on the train. And firstly, the journey to Aberystwyth is really nice, actually. So you kind of the train goes to Birmingham. So you get from Birmingham, the train actually goes to the airport. So anyone from the US, if you want to go to Aberystwyth, you can fly into Birmingham International, our Birmingham, not yours, and then get the train across. It's very scenic, very beautiful, and you weave along. It's not the fastest journey, but it's in it's at the moment it's in a lovely 158, nice kind of express sprinter, and you arrive into Aberystwyth. And the most important thing about Aberystwyth railway station, I mean, it's very nice, but the most important thing is that it is mostly dominated by a Wetherspoons. So they have the Wetherspoons, and next door is a really not a bad curry house as well. So you have not a bad curry house in one part of this big Great Western Railway station, and then the other half it's a Wetherspoons. So you can basically sit and get stuck in with multiple beers and wait for your train to arrive, which is not, as a student, was not a bad arrangement, actually. I mean, basically I would have breakfast or dinner there depending on when I was getting the train, but it's pretty good and it's nice. And actually from Aberystwyth you've got you could go all sorts of places by train, because essentially just a bit up the line is Machynlleth, which is all consonants because it's Wales.
Yes.
And actually, short of that is Dyfi Junction, which is where the train goes northwards along the Welsh coast, which is extremely beautiful and isolated. And that junction is like one of few railway stations in Britain that has no road to it. It's just a station in a bog, literally in a bog, that they recently had to raise the tracks by like 0.5 metre because it would always flood. So that's Aberystwyth, which is very nice. This thing is only here because of you, so we were at minimum obliged to answer your questions. So do keep dropping those in the Discord or on Patreon. This one comes in from Katie Fenn, who asks,
What haven't you talked about that you found interesting or annoying on your UK rail adventures over here?
Yeah, because we talked about we did a Britanology. We've chatted a bit, I think possibly even on other bits about your trip over here and things you found interesting or annoying. Yeah, what were you enjoying on your trip over? I know that you have like surprising thoughts about cross country trains, but other than that, yeah, anything you haven't shared with the world.
I was surprised to see that the cross country train was more comfortable than the Azuma. That's because I got first class, of course. That would not have been the case if I had been sort of in with the hoi polloi and sort of the first four cars that were all like the black hole of Calcutta.
Yeah, even the flip down seats in it. Like I hate on the Voyagers a lot because I think they're dreadful trains that are not used in the way that they ought to be for the length of journey they do. But actually, even the flip down seats in the vestibules, if they had those, which I think they do in a couple of parts of the train, are more comfortable than the seats in the Azumas, which I defended at the start because I have a bad back and I quite like a firm seat. But all of the seats in the Azumas have just like disintegrated, so there's a square metal bar under your ass whenever you sit on them, which is, I have to say, suboptimal.
The art of good seating is dying, unfortunately.
Well, of course, as you've talked about elsewhere, those seats. Listen to that Britanology, folks, if you haven't already. Yeah, those seats in the best train seats in the world, possibly. At least, this episode, this series is called Trainsatlantic because we bring a very like Anglo-centric kind of Atlanticist view of the train world. But certainly in the sphere that we are aware, the world's most comfortable train seats are those invented by the military-industrial complex.
Yes, yes, they did a lot of testing. And they figured out exactly how to make a seat that you could sit in as the guy whose job it was to push the button on the nuclear missile. And then they just put those in trains. And it worked.
It worked. and yet we have lost that technology. It's lost to history, which is frightening.
The good news is that Trump wants to, rebuild the nuclear arsenal, so we might get better chairs again out of it.
Yes, military-industrial complex. Give them the chair money. That's true. Beautiful. Anything else you wanted that you've not kind of shared with the world on your UK adventure? Just a little while ago now that you were mucking around.
Yeah, it was a little while ago. Yeah, I mean, the stuff that's sort of fresh in my mind is now continental Europe stuff.
Which we will get to.
Yeah.
And so we bring this first episode of Trainsatlantic to a finish. Roz, thanks for joining me on this one.
Oh, no problem.
And thank you, dear listener, for being a subscriber to the Railnatter Patreon. We hope very much that you've enjoyed this little treat. And if you liked it and want more of it, do tell us. Likes and reviews and all the sorts of things that help the algorithm to boost us are good. Suggest themes for discussion, comments on Spotify or wherever, ask us your questions. You can do all of that everywhere because that's how the internet works. Discord server, which you can access at garethdennis.co.uk/Discord, or you can drop a comment on Patreon. We'll find it in any case. And do share that you've enjoyed this and that people should listen to it. It only remains for us to bid you farewell. Cheerio.
Auf Wiedersehen.